definitely talk about with the Devil May Cry Netflix anime that came out April 3rd is that there are some positives in the negative of this anime, and I'll definitely get those positives out of the way first. I believe they did display Dante's abilities pretty well, like when it showed his different skill set and when it showed him teleporting and dodging bullets and using his super speed slash trickster style save the civilians in that restaurant in the one scene. So that was pretty cool. When he activated his devil trigger for the first time, that almost reminded me of Goku going Super Saiyan, and that was pretty cool. The scene was also almost ripped right out of Dragon Ball, where the the stupid friend that talks too much dies, and Dante ends up being upset and then going Devil Trigger to kill the next boss. So it's pretty much ripped out of that, but it was still cool. Sparta stuff was pretty cool because, as you know, in Devil May Cry, we don't really get too much Sparta besides like little hints here and there. And if you like read some of the books, you see like inscriptions of Sparta and what he's done in the past. So I like how we got a little flashback of Sparta, and his design was pretty cool, so I will give them credit for that. He had a really cool design. It almost reminded me of like a Steppenwolf from the Zack Snyder Justice League mixed with like the Sin Devil Trigger Virgil horn design, like how his horns look. So he has like that almost human-like face, but you can tell he's not human because he is a demon. So that was cool too. The violence I thought was really great. Whenever a show is supposed to be violent and they execute the violence well, this show I thought did a really good job on that. Especially the first episode when Rabbit hired the mercenaries to go and to the museum, and he basically stole the Force Edge sword and he used it to go crazy and kill all of those military guys. That was something else. Like, I give them credit for that. As soon as the guy is like, "Oh, what the hell are you supposed to be?" Boom, chops his head off. Like, that's what we need. Devil May Cry is known for the violence and gore, so they get some points for that. Now, where the negatives lie is where pretty much after episode 2, the show stops being about Dante and turns into the lady show. And the last episode pretty much tries to confirm that when after Dante defeats the main boss, that lady couldn't because she was too busy being injured by the other bosses that she had defeated, which she shouldn't have been able to. She says that she suggests to Dante that maybe they should go on adventures together in the future. And Dante says, "Oh yeah, Dante and Lady sounds great." But she says, "Oh yeah, that's not my name. It's Mary, as we know, Mary Arkham." And then Dante says, "I like Lady more." So then she says, "Okay, but how about we do Lady and Dante?" And Dante's like, "I'll think about it." So I hate to be the one to say it, but the agenda was definitely in our face in this one, and it was hard to not see too, because there was a lot of moments where Dante should have been ridiculously strong and able to overcome a lot of the damage that Lady tried to dish out to him, because it was a little bit of a back and forth of whether or not Dante and Lady trusted each other. Well, more so her not trusting him because she doesn't like demons, and that was a whole character arc that was explored in this season, which wasn't really all that interesting because it still took away from the Dante lore that we were missing out on. We even had an episode that was filler in this 7 episode limited Netflix series. 7 episodes, and we had a filler episode that was dedicated strictly to Lady. Dante was not even in the episode. So this series, unfortunately, I gave a 5 out of 10. This series could have been so much better. A lot of the villains that showed up, there was the 2 twins that turn into the swords from Devil May Cry 3 when Dante defeats them. They got both of their heads shot off by a lady. So, you know, a regular human, she was able to kill both of them, and she was able to kill the Echidna, the snake lady that Dante was able to destroy in Devil May Cry 4. So, in my opinion, the feminist female political agenda was way too strong with Lady, and she was way too strong. She almost received little to no damage in a lot of scenes. There was a scene where the helicopter was about to crash, and she jumps out of the helicopter and rolls out completely fine the next scene. Mind you, I can suspend my belief in certain things, but as you know in the Devil May Cry lore, she's just a regular human. Just a regular human. She is skilled with guns, she is a marksman, but she should not be able to put Dante down and trap him and be like this Amanda Waller type commander character, which is what really turned me off of this show. She had way too much power in this show, and I believe the ending was one of the worst endings I've ever seen. The end, pretty much the villain gets defeated, Dante saves the day, because she couldn't. She defeated everybody else without him, but couldn't defeat the rabbit who transforms. He said like they agreed they were going to go on their little adventure, but then she shoots him and that knocks him out. She says, sorry, I got to take you back into the government, because, you know, she was working for the government in this show. And I just thought that the whole thing was stupid. It was just disappointing and a downplay to Dante's characters and abilities, because I know that this takes place around Devil May Cry 3, and he wasn't at his strongest, but he still wouldn't be getting knocked out by bullets. And we saw in the first episode the military pretty much went after Dante, and he was he was using the trickster style to avoid the bullets. There were like 100 automatic shots being shot at him. He was able to avoid that like nothing. But when it comes to Lady shooting him with bullets, he can't dodge any of those. She's able to land hits on him. She's able to kill all of these bosses that understandably Dante didn't really struggle with, but he's a demon. He's the son of Sparta. And speaking of Sparta, I don't really think it was I don't really understand why they went the route of Dante not knowing that he's the son of Sparta and that he has the demon heritage. In the games, he's already aware of his demon heritage, but he doesn't awaken the Devil Trigger transformation until after his first fight with Virgil, which Virgil, speaking of Virgil, he's not in this show, people. The clip that we see of Virgil is just supposed to be that blue creature from Devil May Cry 1 that can transform into people. He just transforms into Virgil to psych out Dante, and that was it. But then we do get Virgil mentioned, so hopefully they don't ruin him. But hopefully we'll see what they do with him in season 2 whenever that comes. But Virgil is still very much alive. I've seen like other people say like, oh well, that Angelo creature is Virgil. No, that's not Virgil, because the creature, that creature there is technically supposed to be the Cavalier Angelo from Devil May Cry 5. So the bosses that were there were the Cavalier Angelo that Dante kind of defeated, but Lady used her technology to kill. So I thought that was kind of lame. I thought that Dante could have defeated that himself with the Devil Trigger. The two-headed ogres, the blue and red one, they both were killed off by a Lady, shot to the head, their head got blown off. And then the Echidna, she got killed off by a Lady too. So yeah, this is definitely a switch up from the video games. I would definitely just play the video games over watching this, because this was a shit show. And I usually don't cuss in videos, but oh well. This was not good. As a huge Devil May Cry, and I'm talking huge Devil May Cry fan and huge Dante fan, this was disappointing. Maybe season 2 will change some things around, but that ending really was disappointing. To just shoot Dante in the back and then trap him, and then he gets cryogenically frozen. Like, come on, man. I would have expected Dante to get on his motorcycle and leave or something like that with a pizza box in his hand, or maybe go open up his Devil May Cry shop. And that's another thing too. There's a lot of other bounty hunters in this universe, world of Devil May Cry, Netflix universe or whatever. But usually in the games, it's only just Devil May Cry. Like, Devil May Cry is a business that Dante opened because demons exist in the real world, and the only person that's able to hunt down demons is him. And of course, like, people like Morrison, but he hires people like Dante to do it. So a lot of obscure changes that didn't need to happen. Poor characterization of Lady, especially. Like, at this point, I don't even want to see Lady in the next Devil May Cry game because of how badly they characterized her. Like, she had the biggest balls in this. Like my friend Nerd Culture Toxic says, she had the biggest balls in this show. She was the man in this show and took over the whole show almost. Dante, the only backstory we got was the first episode and some of the second episode. The fight scenes were great, but pretty fight scenes can't hide bad writing. Conveniences on Lady's part. Scenes where she should have died, or scenes where she would have been caught by that Cavalier Angelo. She got lucky. So those are my thoughts on the Devil May Cry Netflix anime. 5 out of 10. Not that good. What do you guys think? As a Devil May Cry fan, I'm disappointed. If I were you, I'd go back and rewatch the old 12 episode Devil May Cry anime from Funimation. That was way better than this show, because at least it paid respect to the characters. I would go read the Devil May Cry novelization. I'll probably go and pick that up from Barnes & Noble. But this Netflix show was terrible. If we do get a season 2, don't hire that same writer, because the writer that we had for the first season, Alex Larson, you need to stay far away from Devil May Cry. Do not come back to Devil May Cry. And if you had female writers with you, which you probably did, those female writers need to go too. I see on this article that I'm reading as well that the producer of the show claims that this show has parallels between Iron Man and the Dark Knight trilogy. Not at all. I'd say the best comparison this show has to is maybe the Obi-Wan show on Disney Plus, or maybe even Hawkeye. You want to know why? Because the show was supposed to be about Dante, but isn't really about Lady. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like how Hawkeye, even though it's called Hawkeye, it's not about Hawkeye, it's about Kate Bishop. With Obi-Wan, the show's called Obi-Wan, but for whatever reason it's about Reva. She has the most screen time, and Kid Princess Leia. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.
She don't wanna be saved, don't save her. 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 She don't wanna be saved.